Season 3 is here. We're starting Season 3. Raf's Cast, Tales from MohawkAd. This is the podcast for the advertising students at Mohawk College. We are starting in October 2022 and we are programming about 6 to 8 episodes this year, and we're starting with Devin Bruun from FCB Canada, class of 2017 at our program at Mohawk. Alright, so I'm very happy to start season 3, and here we go. Devin Bruun with all the hints and tips and his career path in advertising. Alright. Here we go, one more episode of Raf's Cast, Season 3 finally, it's on, and I'm very happy with the starting of Season 3 because we are back at the college. So we're back teaching at the advertising program at the college. There's a lot of big changes coming to the program too. And just if you're starting your first podcast, this is the podcast for the advertising students at Mohawk College in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And we're talking about creative design, advertising, strategy, everything related to advertising Canada and Hamilton and Toronto. So welcome if you're here the first time. If you're coming back from season 1 and 2, thank you so much. And today I have a very special guest, alumni class of 2017, Devin Bruun, copywriter at FCB Toronto. Welcome. How are you doing, Kevin?
So much. I'm doing well. I'm not often referred to as a very special guest, so that feels pretty good.
You were a special guest, Devin. You trust me. All the students can get here, a special guest, especially you. I think we always had a good relationship at the college.
Yes.
And I think we'll have a nice conversation here today, especially because I have a few questions for you before we start. I have one specific question for you, Devin.
Okay.
I see a lot of AI stuff like Midjourney and DALL-E kind of stuff. I also see places that you put a subject and the computer will write an essay for you, kind of things. What do you think? What do people discuss in agencies in the industry right now about the future of AI? What you can say to the students about this?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely on everyone's radar. We're talking about it more and more, even at FCB, specifically where I am right now. Seems to be a lot of interest. We've had a couple people do some different presentations on it. We think it's coming. We just don't know what that means exactly. We think it's, it can be used internally as a great tool to like mock things up and stuff like that. There's like a little bit of a fear that clients might lean on this stuff a little bit too much, but I think that's with every kind of trend and all that. And so it's hard to say, but there's so many uses. Obviously, right now, it's the visual stuff is getting a lot of buzz and a lot of press. But there's been writing bots forever too, where you can put in something and it rewrites it completely. But so far, it's hard to say the impact it's going to have. But I don't think it's anything that anyone really needs to be worried about, if you know what I mean. I think we're going to use it as a tool, but if anyone had the idea that's going to replace people, I just don't think so.
Yeah, I think it would be a tool too. Yeah. I use it for a lot already for slide presentations as a background images.
Yeah,
I use it. Super cool to do, fun, very astonishing actually to see the results and technology. But as always a new thing, it needs to be transformed into something that will be usable for as a tool to everybody. So
yeah, that's right.
I'm super fascinated by that vertent right now. We are on actually, I say the date. This is October 6th, 2022. By the way, if everybody, we're in Hamilton. I'm in Hamilton, Ontario. Where are you, Devin?
I'm at my apartment in Toronto, living the dream.
All right.
Yeah, I think growing up, I always thought I'd have this beautiful view and a big high condo, and it turns out the city's really expensive, so I don't have that. But what I have is nice, and I love living here.
That's cool. Good stuff. Yeah, it's just It's like myself. I came to Canada to live in Toronto. To tell the truth to you, to work in agencies in Toronto, live in Toronto, in Canada, and I'm here in Hamilton. And for me, it's just a transformation of the life. And sometimes is the best surprise. Sometimes is the
Yes,
things that even better than what you dream of.
definitely.
So that's yeah. So let's come back to 2014
Mm.
when you decide to go to advertising and we're out of high school or take a year off. How was that process, Devin, if you remember
Yeah,
that
no, I do
decision
remember.
making?
Yeah, I do remember. Fun fact. So I grew up in a really small town, and my first dream was to be a cop, which
Where is it? Where is the
the small town is St. George, which is out by Brantford and Cambridge area. Super small town,
okay?
3,000
So you
people.
want to be a cop?
Yeah, I want to be a cop. I think what that really meant was I wanted to drive around my hometown all day. But if you know anything about me, it's the furthest thing from what I am. I could never be a police officer. And then I went to Sheridan, and I actually took their advertising program there. But
Mm-hmm.
then I realized pretty quickly that despite Sheridan being such a creative school, their ad program actually was entirely business focused. It was all about media and account management. Actually, they did very little creative.
Okay.
So I dropped out of that and I went to Mohawk for journalism. I thought, hey, that's a fun way to write for a living. And then I did 2 years of that, and it wasn't scratching that itch. And then I actually just started kind of becoming aware of Mohawk's advertising program just through hearsay and stuff like that. And then I saw this like really fun like print ads being like honestly broadcast around the school. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really remember when I got turned on to it, but when I did, I saw all the fun work being done, and it just kind of clicked that I knew it was for me. I had a really great meeting with Wayne actually, and I before
Okay.
before I knew who Wayne was, he was just I think the dean of the program or something like that at that time, and I just sat down with him. I'm like, hey, you don't know me, but I'm in this journalism program, and I kind of think I hate it, and I kind of think I would love advertising, and he helped me kind of decide that maybe it was the right choice, and then from there I dropped out of journalism, so that's a 3-time dropout, which is a great achievement.
Mhm.
And I took advertising, and thank God it was the right fit for me finally after all those years.
So you were on the journalism program at Mohawk.
Yeah, for two
And
years.
you decided to do pro. Okay.
Yeah,
So interesting.
yeah,
I never knew that fact.
yeah, yeah. I was on campus. I was around.
Okay, so you knew already that you want to do the creative side of it.
Yes.
Okay. By the way, our program is we're gonna get a name change late
Oh,
this year. So yeah, I will tell you uh, firsthand after I finish the interview. I
okay.
cannot officially
Sure.
say yet, but I will say to you after.
Okay. Right on.
Which yeah,
Cool. Exciting.
I think you'll like it.
Okay.
So so once you go through first year, how was that saying of going second year, specializing in
Hmm.
creative, and when you decide to want to write instead of doing art direction? How was that decision?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I think. Yeah. Like I said, I knew I wanted to go creative, and I remember those intro creative classes with Jeff being so much harder than you'd think they would be.
Hmm.
It really lets you know the standard of the program and the work they're expecting. And I remember thinking like all through the year, like if I don't nail this and I'm just not naturally good at it, I'm gonna be so kind of upset or whatever. And I ended up having this one assignment where I did really well, and then I kind of knew I was kind of in, and that gave me the confidence to kind of trust my writing ability and stuff like that. And in terms of writing and art direction, uh, I'm just the worst. Like I think I have good taste in art, and I know what I like visually and stuff like that, but I can't pull it off. I can't for the life of me. I'm in awe every single day what an art director does. I truly believe art directing is way more difficult for so many different reasons. Um,
Hmm.
Writing is just something I've been doing my whole life. Even when I was,
Well, our directors think the same thing about copy.
that's what I hear, and they're crazy, and I'm sure they think vice versa. So, but yeah, I've been writing my whole life. I feel like in early high school, I wasn't going to parties or anything like that. I was staying at home writing like a little nerd, and honestly, it's that stuff that paid off. So,
How
uh,
come? How come you write kind of essays or poetry or books or stories or
yeah, I was doing it all.
journal?
I was
How
doing it
was it?
all. Yeah, I was trying so hard to be so cool. I was trying so hard to be the cool writer guy, And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because all that writing was so probably bad and really cringy. But it's just practice makes
Well,
perfect.
it's anything that you start as a hobby,
Yes,
all this start work. When you look back, it's kind of cringy
100%.
kind of stuff. You know what I'm trying to say.
It's just
So,
getting
but it's part of the process.
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, so we got to second year, and then coming back to it's time now for third year and show your portfolio and construct your portfolio. And how was that moment on your academic life at Mohawk?
Yeah, it was fun. Those classes called portfolio, that part of the 3 year program was had such a like a lore and like a mythos around it. Whenever you're in first year, early second year, the years ahead are always saying, "Oh, here comes portfolio. You're not gonna be able to survive it," and it is really hard. It's super super difficult. It's like a really scary time, but a really really fun time. It's a lot of late nights. It's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bonding with everybody else in the agency, and then you get really great work out of it. You get pushed so hard to create the best work you can do, and then it just put us in a position where I think a lot of people were so down about their books, even when they were kind of good. But I always felt like I really liked mine, and I liked pretty much everyone's in the class, and it just gave me confidence that like going into the advertising world, I was like, I don't see why any of us aren't going to get hired at places we want to go, because I felt like our
Mm-hmm.
books were good, and you guys helped us get there. And Miami Ad School was coming, but I don't think they were officially like kind of in the biz yet in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were the last year that really had that kind of advantage of not having to compete with them. But I just remember having like a lot of confidence in my book, and I felt like I had earned that because I worked so hard and had so many shitty ideas. I had so many bad ideas die, and
Mm-hmm.
but we ended up with I think really good student
You
books.
can say shitty ideas, no
Okay,
problem.
great,
Yeah,
great,
you can say any words here.
great.
So
Yeah, I just think we ended up with so many great ideas because we were pushed so hard by you guys, and I think about it all the time. Like I think you technically could skip school completely and get a job in advertising. But I think it's just so much harder. Like the program was just so good at teaching you all these concepts and then pushing them. And I think if you don't have anyone to push you, like you or Jeff or Nancy or even Wayne, Rob, and Janice, like it, you just won't get there, and then you won't get that sweet job you wanted. So we're into
I
it.
see.
Yeah,
Good to hear. Thank you
no problem.
for that. And how was the between you guys, between peers? Is there a kind of a I'm getting an interview already, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's gossip," and this
Well,
person got internship, or
Well, no,
yeah,
I'd say no. I'd say we're very supportive. I'm actually just a
okay.
super. I'm a super emotional human being, so I would just get jealous to be honest. But other than that, I think we're all really supportive, and like it was really exciting to see where people were going, and also like people had different views of the agencies that they wanted to go to. Like I had some that were on my list, and some people had others, and people knew people who worked there already, and it was just interesting to see us all. Like it was fun to catch the train with someone, to go to an interview with them or without them, and just like part ways in the morning, be like, good luck at yours, and maybe we all meet up for lunch after. It was a really really fun and exciting time where we are just going to Toronto maybe a couple times a week.
Mhm.
We got our foot in the door somehow, sitting down with all these people that like in what like inspire us really, because they're the ones doing all the great work. It was just a really really exciting time.
So, how was that first offer? Tell me the story of your first internship, first junior contract.
Yeah, my first one was my dream job, which was Sid Lee. At the time, Sid Lee had such badass
Yeah.
branding. They were doing the whole black and
Mhm.
white and all that really cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
They just come off We the North, and I went in. I met Kelsey and Alexis, who were the CDs there, and it just went really well. They liked my book and they liked my personality, and they pretty much offered me it right on the spot. I'd also partook in this Zulu employeeship thing, which was this kind of fun program they were doing where they take 10 people and did this
I remember that.
competition. Yeah, it was a lot of fun as well. I did that with a couple other Mohawk grads at the time as well. But Sid Lee was kind of where my heart was, so I went there and I had an incredible summer. It was so much fun. I met so many good people there, people that I still consider friends, and got to work on real stuff and honestly just work under really great people too.
How was the gut feeling of a first week? they give you a computer and say, here's a brief or here's a job. How was the
Yeah,
what passed in your mind?
it was super exciting because again, dropping out of 3 programs and trying to figure out what the heck I want to do with my life, and then
Uh-huh.
getting there and not only just getting a job in advertising, but getting a job at the shop I wanted to go to, and yeah, I just felt so good about it, and it was so exciting getting that laptop, getting that first brief, and my partner and I was actually Kelvin from the program from the same year. We got partnered up, which was so nice. That helped make the transition really easy because we knew each other, we were friends, and he had the same hunger I did. So we were staying late, trying to come up with proactive ideas, even though we had to, take the 2-hour train home. Like I was gone from 5:30 in the morning till 10 p.m. at night. But it was so fun.
Okay.
Yeah, so fun. It was a great summer, and then I finally got a spot there, and that was even better. Like just a short-term sublet in the city, so I could spend more time at work because it was so enthralling to be there.
All right. I saw here that you went to LG2.
Yeah. So I was super lucky. Kendra, another grad of the program, another super talented human being.
Hello to Kendra. Yes.
Yeah, another super talented human being. She just happened to need a writer, and I was ending my contract at Sidley, and all they could do at the time was give me an extension of my contract. Whereas I had this offer to be Kendra's partner at LG2 and get a full-time job, and Chris and Nelly were running that shop, and so for anyone who doesn't know, they're industry legends, and I just couldn't turn that down. So it was super exciting. I went over to LG2. It was like 12 or 13 people there at the time. For anyone that doesn't know, they're a huge Canadian ad agency. They're mainly in Montreal, Quebec City, but this Toronto office opened, I don't know, maybe almost 10 years ago now. And yeah, it was just such an awesome experience to go there. It was
they made a big impact in the industry. Oh my God.
100%. Yeah. And then I was
agent of the year for a few years, and
totally.
So how was the change on the Sidley? They look like similar on, isn't it? Like
well, you'd think so, but the key thing here is LG2 Toronto was not LG2 Montreal. It was its own thing. It was like this, it had its startup vibes. It was a super small office. Like I said, I was like the 13th employee at the time there. And I was there for 4 or something years, and by the end, when I left, it was 50. But Sidley Toronto was huge. They had already done so much great work, and I don't know. I'm sure there were around 100, if not more, or a little bit less. But LG2 was the complete opposite. But what you got instead was something that kind of sounds corny and cliche, and we all kind of joke about it in the industry. But you did get like a real family vibe there, and it was really fun. Yeah, some great clients, and again, learning from Chris and Nelly was such an amazing thing for my career. They're so wickedly smart, and they help me understand things that I just honestly didn't know to help me be successful.
That's nice to hear. I think it's one of the things, coming back to Sidley, I think one of the things I respect them the most because they're avant-garde when it comes to change an advertising agency into branding and graphic design and type and environmental graphics and redesign of stores and all those shows and events, activations. So that kind of stuff, I think a lot of people went to kind of mirror into them to expand because that was like, I think this is kind of what the future should be.
Yes,
more multiverse and a lot of different things. And they did it, and I think we see the industry is completely diverse today. So that's a cool thing. 4 years. Coming back to LG2, 4 years there. Tell me some of the work you did there that you were.
Yeah, LG2 was a lot of fun. So I was working on Manchu Wok forever, which is Chinese food in a food court. And honestly, like a big part of the thing was just making memes. So it was really fun for a long time to say I was getting paid to make memes all day. I'm sure that's someone's dream job, and for a while I had it.
That sounds an amazing job.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was so fun to just be a super goofy, and our client, she gave us almost carte blanche to just run with things, and she would sometimes see a meme and and maybe not even totally know what it meant, but trusted us, which was really fun. She was just like, you think it's funny, so it must be. So get to that stuff. Yeah, I got a lot of experience on a lot of different brands. That's a great thing about working somewhere small. But I was working on LCBO, which obviously is like a big deal in Ontario. It's a lot of work. Did some fun stuff with them. Desjardins and State Farm Insurance.
If you listen from outside of Canada, LCBO is the Ontario store who sells liquor and beer license kind
Yeah,
of
that's
stuff.
right. Right. So a big
Go
account.
ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Yeah.
no, all good. Big account. Yeah. So then also got to work on some insurance stuff, which isn't always the most exciting, but that's part of earning your dues for sure. And got to write some funny radio that my friends and my mom back home all heard on real radio, which is super exciting. And then we had brands like Casper and Under Armour, so I got to work on a lot of brands, and again just learned so much from the people there. And LG2 was so good at hiring people, every account person, every strategy person, every creative, which was such a good fit as a human, but also as a talent. So I was
Do
just
you
lucky.
stay with the same partner or you change partners?
I was with Kendra for a couple of years then, but then she kind of switched into a design role.
All right.
Yeah, and then I brought in another Mohawk grad, Devon Clark.
Devon, yes.
Yeah, so many Mohawk grads out there. Brought him in, and we did a couple of years, and then right at the end there, he took another great opportunity, and then I was working with somebody else from the industry, and yeah, so lots of LG2, lots of Mohawk. Yeah.
That's very cool. So, how was the difference, do you think, between even at now you're at FCB?
Yeah.
Let me know what is the before telling the change from
Hmm.
LG2 to FCB. What is the main difference between how people brief you? Oh no, wait, Eddie. Of course you can say how they put everybody in a room and they give you the brief to read and then you guys meet. Just interesting to the students to be used to what's coming.
Do you mean between LG2 and FCB, or just how briefing in general?
Well, you can tell about the three agencies.
Yeah,
What do you think is
yeah. I think briefing is pretty similar across the board. It's just generally, the accounts team is working with the client to figure out where they kind of want to go, what they need done, and then strategy comes in and helps define the brief. They help find the right audience, the right insights and stuff like that. And then at some point along the way, we're finally briefed in to do the creative. And
all right? So
yeah,
it goes first into the strategy and
yeah,
research and account
yeah,
before it even lands in your lap.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And then we have a meeting and they take it through us, and then at that my brain is already firing. I have such a hard time listening to the people talking because my brain is moving 1,000 miles a minute at that time.
Uh-huh.
But it's fun. They're briefing us in, and then you just get excited about all the things this could be, where it could go. And then from there, you're just kind of hitting the ground running. You just got your deadline, you got to meet it.
Do you think when it comes nowadays that the strategist becomes such a huge part in
Yes.
the industry, do you think there's a tension when they brief you and say that's the limitation, that's it should go, but you'll say it could be much more, or how that works, or you need to follow that as a established thing?
Um, it's a little bit of all of the above, which is the worst answer. But what I'll say is like it's if an agency is doing a good job, they're hiring good people, and so those good people won't let that kind of stuff get in the way. And I think it's like you know at the end of the day, you want to get something that feels on brief because a client's going to buy it, and that's such a hard thing to do. So make something great that client wants to buy. That's the hardest thing you can do.
Mhm.
If something goes off brief but also makes sense, a good strategist will see that. A good strategy team will see that. That's what I mean by hiring good people. It's about everybody being flexible, and then it's on me too. Like if I present something that's I think is like really cool, but it's totally off brief and it just won't work, and I have to listen to that. It's a lot of flexibility on everyone's end. I think that's
I see.
it's a huge thing. Advertising is all about working together. It's something you learn at the agency,
Hmm.
Mohawk, and it's something you learn, and you can't do advertising without it. It's such a team game.
Hmm. That's good to hear. That's come back to OG2, and after 4 years there, what made you say, "Okay, I had enough of this, and let's start your next chapter"?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was there for a long time. I think in general, I'm not sure if maybe your students don't know this, but advertising people jump around a lot. It's just
Of
frankly,
course.
it's kind of how you
Be
get,
there.
yeah,
Be there. Yeah.
it's frankly how you kind of get paid and get raises and all that. But
Uh-huh.
it's kind of just how the game works. I was at LG2 for so long because I had so many friends there and I loved it. And again, working under some really fantastic CDs and really great strategy teams and account teams. So I really loved it. But we had just gone through the pandemic. My partner had left. My current partner had taken a really great ACD gig out east. And then I'd been there for so long. And I was actually at this point where I was actually like, I didn't even know if I wanted to do advertising anymore.
Oh,
Yeah,
how come?
I had this thing. I'm not alone. That was such a common thought in the pandemic amongst friends and also just social listening. It was all over every advertising Reddit page, every blog. It was people were like just leaving the industry. I think that's every industry, but in
Quiet
ours,
quitting kind of stuff.
pardon me.
The quiet quitting kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I just think everybody was just taking kind of stock.
No, it was brutal.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
everybody had to reflect on a lot of different things.
Exactly. And as a creative, it was really hard to be inspired. And so I had all these things going on in my head. And the other thing too was like, I felt like out of school, I had a really good book. And I felt like I had been so lucky to be at Sidley and at LG2. And I just I don't think I have done any work that I wanted to really do. I was feeling so good coming out of school. I thought I was just going to bust in and be like this crazy young, super multi-award winning, going to nail every campaign thing. And that just didn't happen for me. And it took me a long time to kind of process that. Like I couldn't believe how hard it was once I got out in the industry. And
Mm-hmm.
and so that was something I was thinking about. I was like,
But that's okay.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a perspective, and that doesn't mean that you didn't do good work and you put your heart on it,
mm-hmm.
that you're not passionate about it. Trust me, it's you need to follow, get results to client, you do great work. It's all good.
Yeah, agreed. And so I was at this point where I was thinking about all that. I was thinking about putting all this pressure on myself about how I don't think I achieved what I wanted to achieve, what I thought I could. In the middle of that, I'm also just like, it's the whole world is falling apart. It was all terrible. So I ended up actually just resigning. Like I didn't have a job.
Oh,
I left FCB. I left on really good terms. I think my boss he understood. He could totally see where I was coming from. I kind of just told him, I was like, I'm kind of losing my spark for the industry. I'm just not loving it. And then so I took some months off early this year, and I was thinking about what I wanted to do. I was looking into like video game writing. I was looking into all sorts of this, script writing and all that. Which again, I also had this kind of secret confidence that I could do, because no matter what kind of creativity you're doing, it's all about pushing yourself and being really hard on yourself. And at the end of the day,
yes, definitely.
And at the end of the day, those are things that I learned at our program, which is kind of nice. So I just feel like I had the training to be successful in anything. But that said, I was freelancing for a little bit, and then a friend gave me got me an interview at FCB, and this is right when I was just figuring out what I want to do, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna try one more time. I'm gonna try one more time and do the ad thing. I'm gonna go to this great shop. I met the CDs, and even the CDs, I already know, I don't think they love my book. Like they thought it was fine, they thought it was good. But FCB is one of the best agencies in Canada right now, if not the world. But I think I was just so honest with the ECD that I was interviewing with, and I think he could tell that I was still hungry for it, and that for whatever reason I hadn't done the work I wanted to do, but he could tell that. I think he just really recognized that he knew I wanted another shot. And since coming to FCB, honestly, I'm so thrilled to report that I'm way back in. I'm so in. I'm again obsessed with advertising, and a big part of that is honestly the pandemic not being so much around anymore. Where we're in the office 2 to 3 days a week, and I'm just working with such a great team. Once again, I'm so lucky to be at one of the best agencies in Canada, when they're just stacked in every single department with super, super smart, and even more importantly, super, super nice people. And I feel like I have so many good things on the go. I would often think about a couple ad things I've read where some copywriters had said things really renowned creative directors across the world said things like, I didn't make my first good ad until I was 30. And I'm turning 30 this year, and I have and I think some of the best work I've ever done is all going to be coming down the pipeline in weeks and months.
Yeah, so don't get it down
Yeah,
that way. You're gonna use super young, man.
100%. So I'm back in, and
Have you met Hussein?
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
the other one? Hey, yes,
yeah,
super nice guy too.
100%. There's
I love that guy.
Adam Tuck is here as well. There's some
Adam Tuck, yeah.
great Mohawk people here. So I'm back
Yes.
in. I'm really happy I gave it another
I
shot.
just saw Adam 3 weeks ago, by the way.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great to hear. So I'm glad to see. I can see that you're pumping to
Yeah, I'm excited.
to come back. Yes. So is there any client that you work already? I know there's confidentiality, but something that you can say that you work already on at there.
Yeah, we have a really nice Home Depot spot coming down the line that'll be out honestly within a week. It's for their kind of internal brand Husky, which is just tools they bought. So when you see that was my partner and I, and then doing some really fun stuff for some Hershey brands, which I won't name now, but
Of course.
I'll keep you in the loop on those, and then FCB is just another shop that really wants some really great side thinking, proactive ideas. And my partner and I have been bringing some stuff, and our ECDs and even our CCO Nancy's excited about a couple ideas, and hopefully those take off. That's the thing about advertising. Some of them don't, many don't.
How was I forgot to ask you something. How was the first time you saw some of your work going through, like on social media or online or radio spot or anything? Yeah. How was the first time you were out of home? How was that?
Yeah, it was a super great feeling. Even when I just won't name names, but
of course.
My first billboard, it was something I was working on with Kelvin, and we had all these really fun headlines and stuff like that, and then they went with the product title as the headline, which is a real advertising struggle, but it was still fun to see. Like I turned the corner in my hometown, or Paris, a town near where I grew up, and I saw a billboard, and I was like, hey, I did that, even though it was pretty much just the title of a product. But other than that, even like Mantua, seeing like the memes and going on and reading everyone's comments, because people are so critical about advertising companies doing memes. They're the first people to jump in and being like, oh, what old dude wrote this? But I feel like people actually accepted our tone and kind of thought we were legit. So that kind of stuff is nice to see. And whenever you see work, and
it's difficult because they think you're just destroying something and being mainstream,
100%,
and they need to be extra hard on doing good stuff to actually pays off. Yeah.
So it's always exciting, and I can't wait to see even this new spot out there live. So yeah, it's really exciting. It's one of the best parts about it for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, so super happy with all the steps you did. So 17 is being 5 years in the industry right now. Is that 6?
5 or 7?
7.
Yeah, 22 already.
22. So if you're 17, if you graduate in 17,
5 years.
So probably 5
years.
6. Yeah, 5-ish.
5 really long years. Pandemic adds a couple, I think.
Yes, definitely. Let me know now. I know that I guarantee that you saw some books coming your way to review. Some junior people asking for a chance and reviewing books, this kind of stuff, and even grabbing a coffee with ADs or creative directors and people comments about, I saw this book today and we have this. I know that it's a kind of a saying, and we want also to learn. This is all the final part of our conversation is tips and hints for the students. Let me know, brutally honest, biggest mistakes you see people approaching you and having. If it can be mistakes on the work itself, it can be mistakes on the way they approach and talk to you, on the behavior. And then after you talk about a student coming in, we're going to talk about people who came in and actually started working the wrong way. So,
yeah, I think like a big thing would be just kind of like sloppiness for sure, especially when you're looking at a portfolio. Like just little things like typos and weird choices. maybe some inconsistencies. That's stuff that's like you're kind of I get it because you're so overwhelmed. You're just trying to think about, oh, my book as a whole. I have this. I have this. I have this. Um, but I think it's just
But
stuff
it
like
begin
that.
to but it begin to be very critical when you start working, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Very.
Because I've been in meetings where I've had typos and it's super embarrassing.
Mhm.
It's like my one job to make sure a word is spelled right and I get it wrong. So yeah, it's just stuff that it's stuff like that you pick up on, and then I think it's just important to be confident about your work, and something that I learned later in my career that I wish I was implementing earlier, which is just like have a point of view, have an opinion, like think about your
How
work,
come? How come?
because your creative directors want to see that. They don't want you to hand them a batch of lines or a batch of ideas and just shrug and be like, which one of these do you like? They want you to, pick your favorite line, pick your favorite idea, pick your favorite music track for something, and tell them why you like it. Because that shows that you're actually thinking about these things, that you're not just throwing things on the wall. Like you need to be, and you need to be confident in your work. I think it's so big. So that's something I definitely would recommend to students. Like, don't be shy. Like, have an opinion and have a feeling about work you love, and have a feeling about your own work for sure.
Hmm. What else would you say?
Um, I mean, on the other hand, you just can't be too cocky or anything like that. It's that's the other thing. Have an opinion, but at the same time, people are giving you feedback, not to be mean or whatever. It's just to make you better, or make your idea better, or make your book better. Um, it's very easy to get attached to everything you do, whether it's your
Hmm.
writing or your ideas, and think you're right. You know, I've thought I was right and been wrong, and I am all the time. That's part of the job, is kind of admitting that, and learning, and making the changes, and making the work better. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Making great work.
What do you think is the favorite way people like to see books now? Like campaign videos, case studies, or campaign boards, or just a website explaining, or just few images and a few rationales. How what do you think is the most effective? Because I know all you guys are super busy and sometimes you don't have time to see all case
Yeah.
study videos, kind of stuff. So what you would recommend and what you like you remember saying, "Oh my God, this book is very good." Well, how was that experience? So.
Yeah, it's a mix of things. Once again, it's like, but I think the quickest read you can get out of something, which is like, I think you can have a case study. Just don't make it 3 minutes long, and even if it's a minute long, get your like insight and your idea out of the way in the first 10 seconds if you can. And that's something professionals are doing. Like, I think there's maybe a tendency to be cute with your case studies, especially in college. You're like, oh, I want this like dramatic build up, and I want to like maybe pay, but like I think you really just need to get the idea across really quickly,
Okay.
and then I don't know how other people feel like about this, but I still think it's fun to see print ads and really great like out of home executions. But at the same time, like have your like really cool social campaign that's never been seen before. So it's like just have a great variety of work, and make sure your work is like highlighting what you want to be. If you're an art director, make sure your work, your portfolio has a personality, has something to remember it by. And if you're a writer, make sure all your work reflects you. Like do writing for brands you like, and if it's a brand you don't really care for, make sure your creative execution is one you care for and it's something you like. And even art director or copywriter or whatever, make your book feel like you. Like write a funny about me if you're a copywriter. And if you're an art director, make like the most gorgeous book anyone's ever seen. Like just where the layout is super nice. So it's all that, and it's just making work that is a quick read. Like a case board might be better than a case study, with a great headline. And another thing you can do is like have a great summary for each of your ideas, even if it's a print campaign. Be like, just write very in like one line the kind of the insight in the idea. So I think it's just everyone is pressed for time, so just make their job easier and get your great idea across in as quickly as possible.
I was with Greg Ham from Mischief on
Hmm.
the talking with him on the educators conference from the one show in the beginning of August,
Yeah.
and he was telling us all the educators at the educators conference
Mhm.
as the first thing I read is the about me
Cool.
before I see all the work.
Yeah, it's great.
What do you think about that? You're interested in reading about the person, and
1,000%. Yeah, that's super. That's a really interesting perspective. Yeah, I love that. Like, I just because you have such an opportunity, because like maybe you just got like these weird briefs of clients that you don't care for, but you have such an opportunity in your About Me to just speak to who you are as a person, get a tone across. I've seen some like awesome About Me's from colleagues and stuff like that, and it's something we overlook. We just all want to. That's a thing too. It's like I find a lot of us want to be safe. We want to be like, oh hi, I'm like a 23-year-old copywriter. I'm really passionate about ads, and I can't wait to work in the city. And it's like, no, like tell me about that weird collection of the toy cars you have, or make a joke, make an impact, and put some care and thought into it. Like just you're building brands, so build your own brand first would be really nice. Helps you stand out, I think.
Now, besides that one, let's get through somebody who gets an internship or working as a junior. What you saw already based on your experience? People starting making big mistakes and get fired or get in trouble. So don't need to mention names nor or the agency. Just let me know something that never do that when you start working. Recommendations.
Yeah. Honestly, I think just the biggest thing is just caring about the work and being a good person, like just being a nice, cool person, a good person. I think again, I think it's part of the reason I got this great job at FCB is because I felt like
you were a great person.
Thanks. I feel like
you're a great person.
And I think like the only like you never hear people in the industry be like, oh, that guy sucks at his job. You just hear him say that guy is an a-hole or whatever. I think it's like the biggest thing you can do is just be a good person and be humble and be accepting, because you're gonna get all this feedback. And I know people who shut down over feedback and get angry about it, and I know people who maybe just think too highly of themselves, and all that is kind of, there's no place for it anymore. I think it's just, that's the biggest thing, is just be like a really cool, kind, and open to learning. Just be a good person.
Because I know that you can easily burn bridges in this market.
Everybody.
It looks like everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
It's the smallest industry. It's so weird, but that's also what makes it so fun. And so stay on the good side of that.
Okay. Any other recommendations then for the students? What do you think? If your students in first year or second year, what are your suggestions?
Yeah, so this is something I'm also just learning in my professional career, which is something I did in school but didn't do in the work world for so many years, which is like, just make the work that makes you happy and gets you excited. Like, I felt I was doing that in school. I was making like this like ridiculous Timbits idea, or this kind of gruesome Walking Dead idea. But when I got to advertising, I have this insurance brief, and I was so in my own head where I was like, oh, I got to make it like safe for radio, and I got to make it nice and like a little thing. And then I felt like the work just wasn't always so good. And then now I'm like finally like letting go and just being like, this is the wildest thing I could think of. And all of a sudden I'm having like, I feel like a little more success. And it's just kind of what I was saying earlier. Just make works that excites you and that you believe in, that you're passionate about, that you care about, put the hours into that, and it's going to pay off. Don't make work that you think Raph or Jeff wants to see. Make work that you'd want to see.
Good stuff. Good advice. I remember one saying that you did, and I see here on your book. I remember that one for the Nathan's Hot Dog Baseball World Series. Yeah, that was a fun one. That awesome. You got the ADCC Student Award.
Yep.
Tell a little bit to the students, how was that?
Oh yeah, the ADCC is, when you're a student, is the most magical thing you can imagine. You're like, they have an Oscar ceremony for this kind of stuff, and they're even gonna give my student book an award. So it's like a magical place, and I think it's just like really exciting. As a student, it was like, that's why I felt so good coming out of school, and that's why I feel like I never lived up to that stuff so far, and I got such a high from it. It's really fun. I feel very lucky to have gotten any kind of student recognition, and it helped me. I think when creative directors look at my book, they're like, "Yep, I remember this," or "It's nice to see you got even a merit or a silver or whatever it is."
Mm-hmm.
It's just they recognize good work, so just push yourself, and it's it's hard late nights, but it's all worth it once you get like honestly just making even you and Jeff proud was and Nancy proud was really fun part of the program.
Yeah, the ADCC for the ones is the Advertising and Design Club of Canada, and they're super good on promoting the best work in Canada, pretty much. I think they're the best one, even better than marketing awards or something like that. I like them. Yeah, I think they're super. And finally this year they have the event back.
Yep.
So we're definitely we're going to be there. Uh, I think, Devin, this comes to the finish of our podcast here, and comes to the last question that I will have you.
Yeah.
If you were 2017 Devin, what kind of suggestion you would give to yourself?
Oh man, that's such a good question because I just did everything so perfectly. How do you? I'm just kidding. It's just yeah. Make sure it's that thing I said. Just make sure you keep making the work that makes you happy, and don't be afraid to just like let loose and yeah, don't be all in your head. Every single creative in the whole industry, I feel like I should have said this way earlier. Every single creative in the industry, even CDs and ECDs, all have this vicious imposter syndrome where every single day their head tells them they're not good enough and that this line sucks and this idea sucks, and it's always wrong. So let go.
That is an amazing final words. Thank you so much for your presence here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope your cat is not in trouble anymore. We had
okay. Thank you.
And hope to see you at a DCC. Yes. If you go there, we're definitely going to be there.
Great.
And thank you very much for giving the time for the students.
No problem.
Where the students can contact you? What's the best way to students to contact you, to send book or just chat, that kind of stuff?
However way they'd like. I think it's devin.bruun at fcb.com. It's devin.bruun. I'm so unoriginal that all my social handles are also pretty much the same thing, Devin Bruun, and of course LinkedIn. You can find me anywhere.
Good. Perfect.
Great.
So thank you so much. It was great to see you here. Great. And until next, in a few weeks, we'll have the season 3 chapter episode 2 of Raf's Cast, Tales from MohawkAd. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Raf.